Welcome to the Teaching Science Podcast.
These episodes are recorded on Mondays at 4 p.m. Eastern in our virtual Teachers Lounge.
If you would like to join us on a Monday to chat about a topic related to science education, go to the calendar in our show description to get the link for the week.
You can listen to the recorded discussions as a podcast from any major podcast provider or on the Superheroes of Science YouTube channel. Now, this week started at the end of last week's discussion. And the end of last week, we kind of started talking about what community partner things. And so we're like, well, why don't we get some community partners and maybe some people give us shout outs and let us know some different good resources that teachers can go to. And this is just thing of a Teachers Lounge, people sharing ideas and stuff like that. And so does anybody want to go first? I was just going to start like calling people out, but I didn't know. Is that mean? Is that mean? No? Great, Danielle, go.
It makes it like a
no.
non-formal conversation. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, nothing's formal here, gang. We can jump in and stuff. But what resources or as a community partners, what are some things that you guys have offers, we'll use it, and different organizations like yours might have for teachers?
Yeah, so I don't mind going first if you don't. Indiana 4-H and Purdue Extension, they have a lot to offer K-12 educators from subject areas like animal science, civic engagement. Rachel will talk about computer science, environmental science. I deal a lot with engineering and technology, and we also have mental health programs. So Extension is unique in that we're non-formal education, so we can make programs or lessons that are short or long and have one or many topics. And educators are also located in every county, so teachers don't have to look far to find them.
Do other states also have extension type things from universities or?
Yeah, every land grant university is federally mandated, or it's part of the federal regulation that they have an extension service. So it looks different in every state. Like Illinois has like districts or regions of educators, but Indiana is fortunate enough to have them in every county.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It is. And there are several specialists in extension right now doing a lot of different programming for teachers. So myself, I'm really focusing a lot right now on building smart houses. So this uses engineering design, circuitry, and computer science. But also, Rachel and I have done a lot of AR and VR technology programs, as well as helping create virtual field trips and just putting tools into the hands of educators all over the state and volunteers so that they can do unique programs with the kids.
But how does someone, if they're wanting to get involved in one of the programs, I mean, how do they do that?
Yeah, so it's really easy. Basically, we can help with any subject area. They just contact their local extension office and say, hey, I'm a teacher in this class and I'm looking for a program, or I want to do an after school program that focuses on this. And most of the time extension can have can help out. Right now, we're really pushing educators of all kinds to get certified in mental health first aid. And so while this isn't STEM, it's really important right now in the world that we're living in, because it helps. Basically, it's like CPR in that it helps participants or feel confident providing assistance or support to someone who's having mental health distress. And so extension educators are trained in that, and they can provide certification for adults and youth in the courses for 2 years at a time. So if that's something educators are looking for right now, that's something extension can provide.
I had no idea that was a training that extension could offer. So that's really good to know.
I agree. And it's very valuable training. And not to dominate the conversation, but I also think that it's cool that extension can help schools become STEM certified. So I know the Indiana Department of Education wants all schools to become STEM certified, but if there's like that one piece of your application that's missing, reach out to extension, because we may be able to help you find the programming to to fit that piece.
Okay. Amy, do you have any questions?
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Uh,
I'm
I
going to
just put
piggyback
Amy on
off
the
what Danielle said. I should be quiet. Anyway, piggyback off what Danielle said, in terms of the STEM certification, last year, might have been the year before, the state of Indiana added computer science to their required learning. And every teacher or every K through 8 needs to teach some form of computer science in their classroom. And the high schools have to provide a computer science class. And we have lots of programming available that can help with that. I've got it all pulled together and what's best for certain areas and what grades, and a lot of it you can actually include as part of other things that you're doing. So let's say that you're doing something with recycling, you can actually create a quote unquote commercial for recycling using Scratch and things like that. So there's lots of really, really fun options to include computer science in your day-to-day curriculum.
Yeah, well, you said K. What do you have for primary elementary? Since Amy up there is kindergarten teacher.
Okay, so 4-H doesn't actually do a lot with K through 2. We start at 3rd grade. That said, if I was going to be working with a younger group, I probably would use code.org because it doesn't necessarily require a lot of reading skills. And there is also a Scratch Junior app that allows for similar concepts that Scratch does, but doesn't require reading.
However, extension, since 4-H focuses traditionally on 3rd through 12th grade, extension as a whole, other educators focus on K2 audiences. So the health and human science educator and A&R educators also have programs for youth in those ages. So we do cover every age, just in different ways.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
Right now, Mary, and I know I think just a couple weeks ago we talked about this, or a week or two ago. But you're what are you? What are you?
Well, I don't know where do I begin, Steve? I'm not sure. so I it's always very confusing because I'm in the park and rec world, and there's a lot of overlap and a lot of different agencies that provide these kinds of services. So there's a lot of confusion. But I am the naturalist or the environmental educator for Tippecanoe County Park and Rec Department.
Okay.
So I'm a county employee, and I work primarily within my county, but I can do some outreach in the neighboring counties adjacent to Tippecanoe. But basically, I provide environmental education from pre-K through adult. Specifically for teachers in the pre-COVID world. I did a lot of, and still hope to do a lot of field-based programming when teachers could come to a natural area or utilize if they've got school properties that have some kind of natural resource feature or property. And some of them are fortunate enough to have that. I can provide field-based programs that are connected to the standards and relate to the natural resource topics at each grade level. So that was a big part of what I did prior to COVID. And then also a lot of in-classroom programming as well. Again, connected to the standards, usually natural resource related in some way, shape, or form. A lot of science connections, of course, as you'd expect, but some, language arts and math and social studies connections as well. And so for myself, currently, because of the COVID situation, one of the outreach tools I've developed for teachers is to try to provide them with tools to teach their students what they would normally teach in the classroom setting, but out in their schoolyards, to get them out in that fresh air, to have them physically engaged, to allow them to have a little opportunity to, get out of that sort of rigid environment in the classroom that they're all facing right now with the prescripted spaces between their desks and all those kinds of things. So I developed these science in the schoolyard kits with tools that at each grade level, teachers could use to teach specific lessons, standards-based at each grade level. So those are opportunities. I can take those kits to the schools. I would deliver them, pick them up, all that kind of good thing. So those are some of the things that I provide. Sort of looking at it in a broader picture, to sort of piggyback on, what was said about 4-H. There are park and rec facilities and agencies and outreach personnel all throughout the state. Really depends what county you're in terms of what agencies and individuals can provide those kinds of services. We're really fortunate here in Tippecanoe County because we have a county park department, both cities have park departments, and we have, of course, the Department of Natural Resources with a state park, and we have a local land trust. So we've got all these agencies. We all kind of take a little piece of that natural resource pie and provide different opportunities educationally. So throughout the state, depending on where teachers are located, they might have a city park department with an educator, an outreach educator. They might have county. They might have a state facility, whether it's, you know, fish and wildlife or a state property in terms of a park. So there's usually something, some park and rec associated agency or even a not-for-profit in every county of the state that educators could reach out to and find some of that kind of environmental programming.
I think that's one that I think a lot of people don't think about. Because I mean, it's if you're from Indiana, you know you have an extension agent in your
Right.
county. It's just, you know that. I'm assuming a lot of states are similar, but it parks and stuff. You know, there's parks, but you don't think about
Right.
them having outreach personnel
Right.
that can actually help you with different units that you're doing.
Yeah, and again, it's so variable, so it's hard. There's not a one size fits all kind of model. And you know, some of them might be more just sort of, you know, recreationally based kinds of programming. You know, there's people like myself that very much want to have these things, you know, have a standard based approach and make it more environmental education rather than just sort of park and rec. So it really just depends, you know, I'd say teachers, you know, definitely take that, you know, opportunity to reach out, see what's available, and they might be surprised. There's a lot of opportunities out there.
And so, do you work with, like, I don't know who are here in Clinton County? I know it's Leah, but
Right.
like soil and water.
Yes, definitely. And I think there's a lot of interagency partnerships that go on, which allow us to expand and extend our outreach. Yeah, so I work very closely with our soil and water district. I work with our local land trust. I've worked with the other park departments, with the DNR. You know, you of course we know this. This is kind of what we're in a way talking about today. You can do so much more with partnerships. You know, I think most of those agencies and individuals want to partner and create larger opportunities based on what they're able to do together. So we've created some kind of neat larger events that any one agency couldn't do alone, which I think is wonderful. So, yeah. So that, I hope that kind of clarifies a little bit of what teachers might look for and how to kind of sort of, you know, reach out to those different kinds of groups.
Now on, I know we asked like some of the different counties, like foundations people to talk. And I know one said that they wanted to, but they were out, they were busy. And then the other was seemed uncertain about what we were asking. But which, you know, I don't know if it's a fit for us. Please quit emailing me. You know, yeah, little things like that.
Right.
But I should have had Sarah send those out, I guess. But
Well, the community foundations, though, I think are a good resource. I know we don't have anyone here today, but that's just, you know, another avenue. I think a lot of times they'll have grants and things for teachers that they can access. And a lot of times it's specific to that county or to students within that county.
And that's where I was going with it, was the grant side of it. If someone like Amy, who's the classroom teacher that I don't know what the word is. I think we were talking about this last night. You got wrangled into it? Is that right? Being here?
We're so grateful.
Yeah.
But if she wants to write a grant, she has an outdoor area that actually she got a grant through
Farm Bureau.
Yes, Farm Bureau. They have grants, by the way, all counties. So if you're a teacher looking for they're a really good place to partner with. If she wanted to boost up that, would you ladies, the corporation or not corporations, the establishments that you're representing, would you guys be willing to like partner with a teacher if they're wanting to write a grant on something and be a community partner for schools? Is that something that you do?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
Can't give you a specific example of how we've partnered with teacher, like, for example, we're partnering right now with other entities who want to do like ag technology education, and extension is providing the youth element so that they could teach the youth the ag technology component, because they need to have a youth audience. But also we're teaming up with teachers to also teach that curriculum too. So it goes both ways. We're looking for teachers in classrooms, and you can look at us for all other things if you are interested.
Mhm.
And I like your comment about community foundations, because when I was in the county, I wanted to buy a set of 30 virtual reality goggles, and they at the time cost around $10,000. And the community foundation felt like it was a valuable investment in the community and in the students to buy them, and the teachers can share them. So they can check them out from the extension office, even right now, even today, that to use them in their classrooms. So I think that that's a great idea to contact your community foundation.
Yeah, and even
There's-
though particularly my agency may not have money to forward specifically to Teachers for Grants, I know of a lot of natural resource related granting agencies or organizations, and can help connect teachers to those funding sources. So, there's ways that we can help with that.
Awesome. 'Cause I think a lot of times as teachers, we're just kind of, it's everything else is overwhelming because you're doing all this teaching and testing and all of that. And it's, if you could have a little help with those extra things to be able to do a little more enriching things, it'd be nice.
And
Not to mention, sometimes I feel like in the classroom, it wasn't that many years ago in the classroom, that's what you see every day. And you just think, okay, I'm here, I'm with these students, I'm alone. And you're not. It's just, you have to just remember that there's a whole community out there that's willing and able to help it, but you have to take that step to reach out to them, and also kind of know who to reach out to, who's available, that you're able to connect with.
And I agree with that very much, Sarah. And I think especially right now when there is a lot of virtual programming going on, we're pretty good at that at this point. We've gotten, and I know a lot of classroom teachers are now also, but it's always nice to have a little extra help in that area. So
Definitely.
Now, shameless plug, because you mentioned the ag thing. Did you watch last week's Superheroes of Science with the regenerative farming?
no,
I know
I
Amy did.
didn't.
I did not.
She commented.
Sorry.
She told me about it. We did the regenerative farming. Rick, Sarah help.
Rick Clark.
Rick Clark.
Yeah.
Who does regenerative farming, and that was awesome. Just as a suggestion, I wanted to you might check out. Shameless plug, I know.
All good.
I got to get it in there sometimes.
So as a teacher, where do I go where do I go? Is there a resource list or a page that says where can I go to find out who my community sponsors are? Where do I start? I think that's one thing that holds a lot of us back. Like, we have these great ideas, but like, where do I go to find out who is willing to help and who isn't? I realize there's legwork on my part of it, and I'm willing to do that work, but like, I wouldn't even know where to start.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So is there a spot for teachers to go that?
That's a great question. I totally get what you're saying, because I know you think, okay, well, I am open maybe to interacting with others, but yeah, like Amy's saying, where is that list of resources? And I'm guessing, like everyone has alluded to, it's going to be a little different based on your county, or if you're in a city, or if you're rural, or what those resources are. I don't know if it's something like I'm guessing a community foundation would probably have a start at least of a list, or at least know of some things. And then I don't know if there are larger cities like a chamber of commerce, maybe. I don't know if that's something.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up too, because last week I was on a call with a gal from the Lafayette. I don't want to butcher where she was from. However, it was like a chamber of commerce. They provide funding for different programs that people want to do. So it can be as direct or like close knit as your town. However, in Indiana, we have unique things called township trustees, and some of them have funding that they can give you. So that's also another avenue.
Honestly, that's a good question because I had no idea.
Yeah. Township trustees. That's something good.
I hadn't heard of that.
Mhm.
At one time, I think legislation tried getting rid of them, but it didn't work, thankfully.
Yeah,
Well, it's about education. They usually do try to get rid of it if it helps us. Except testing.
I know something that I've done too, just as a personally, without knowing where to reach out, but and I realize Facebook is kind of that evil monster that's out there that we don't always like to address, but by posting things out on Facebook, like I need this, or does anybody know how I get that, or whatever. And I know I've joined several teacher groups who talk about different like-minded teachers who enjoy science or whatever, and they're also another resource for finding information about things like that. So or you'll find somebody who has an extra cash that they're like, oh, I was really hoping to be able to help fund something like that, and it may not be $10,000 worth of equipment, but it might be something like I don't know, covers for iPads, or something like that, that your corporation can't provide. So I know that's social media is also a great way to put that out there, because people share it with other people, and then before you know, then somebody's like, oh, well, you can ask such and such company. That's where I got my foundation money from, or my money from.
I think that's a great idea too, Amy, about the organization idea. Like, we do have a state environmental education association, Environmental Ed Association of Indiana, that has an annual conference, and we have opportunities. Yeah, so right, there's that organization, of course, Hasty, Hoosier Association of Science Teachers. There's the smaller subgroups like the Earth Science group. I know Steve's been involved in that over the years and stuff. So maybe just, teachers kind of connecting with some of those organizations as well. And then there's certainly all the networking opportunities that happen through the events that those things offer, and that provides sort of that extra outreach too, to find, resources and to find connections with outreach providers and those kinds of things. So those are really good things for teachers to explore too, I think. And sometimes I think they forget about that.
Mary, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's great. Those professional organizations as teachers, I know it's always worth, checking out, because there are a lot of opportunities that'll come through there.
Some other places to think about are your local utility companies. So for example, Duke Energy and your REMCs and co-ops, they have funding available, and not just for electric programs. A lot of them are focusing in workforce development and building life skills right now. So that's a good opportunity, or a good place to go for opportunities. And then big industries like Subaru, for example, have grant cycles that they fund different things.
Yeah.
I've heard of some corporations doing school partner things too, but I don't know which ones are actively doing it still. It's,
Eli Lilly used to be huge, but I'm not sure, they left our county, and I'm not sure if they still are doing a lot of educational outreach.
but I think once we get over COVID, a lot of the larger companies will start that back up again.
Yeah.
I hope so.
I say that very optimistically, I know. But and I think a lot of smaller companies will too. It's amazing how many people who are, when they find out that you as a teacher and educator is interested in getting help, it's just like a guitarist will love talking about their guitar. A painter loves talking about their medium, and it's people love talking about what they do. And if they can help partner and excite other people about what they do, it seems like a lot of people are willing to.
I think for that matter too, I'd always, and sometimes I know with younger students, but just knowing the parents and guardians and who's at home with the students in the classroom, because sometimes there are really good connections there too that I know I've had parents come in, I had no idea what they did, and then come to find out halfway through the year, I'm like, oh my goodness, would you come in and speak to my students? And so there have been some neat opportunities there.
And again, that'll be post-COVID.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not during. Yeah, definitely.
You can always Zoom them.
Yeah, right.
Oh, there you go. Which might not be a bad idea. It might be kind of cool.
Mhm.
I know the teachers I've worked with, elementary, middle, and high, but all three, that they've had really good luck when they're wanting to do, when they have a unit and a spot to plug in, that even it's like the local municipalities and stuff, they've had good luck with them explaining the whats and whys. And I've been lucky enough to be in classrooms for some of those, and I'm like, man, this is so cool. I didn't know this stuff, and it's really neat being able to have them explain it. So it's the whole inquiry thing was huge. It seems like it's taken a little bit of a sidestep to STEM, is a little more key word than inquiry these days. But once we start talking about STEM, we get into the science of inquiry. But we always did inquiry units, and we always included community partners with that. And I know in the classroom I had the police department come and stuff like that to kick off my big units, and because they were usually crime based. But like my missing mug and stuff like that, and so those things are, I think, don't overlook places like that. It's because there's so many people willing to help us out in the classroom. It's just I know it takes a minute or two to find and to ask who to ask. But I find more often than not, if you're a classroom teacher and someone understands kind of you're wanting what your expectations and what you're asking of them, I find more and more people are actually willing to do it than we ever realize. So there's a lot of support for us out there. But certainly appreciate you ladies joining us and sharing the resources that you have to offer with what you're working with. And I think we did a good job kind of discussing how we can upscale those, like how other states, to, like Mary said, go to your parks and, contact your parks. And I'm thinking, oh, well, we do have a parks department. I bet I could contact them and see if they don't have someone, then they probably know the next level of where to contact. It seems like those networks know each other, but then outside of their networks, they're not as familiar. And so I think that would be good. And I like that. Any last comments for the world? 2 minutes, you're welcome to fill it. 1 minute.
Thank you so much for having us. It's always great to be able to put 4-H and Extension on a larger stage so that everyone can hear about the cool things we get to do.
Oh, since you guys 4-H, tell me, because I want to fact check something that someone, I won't mention Sarah's name, said last week. She said, yeah, there's deadlines to sign up, but it's kind of a rolling thing, and you can still like sign up for projects and stuff. Is this, I think it's BS. Is this, can we fact check this, please?
That is fact. Now, if you have a cow, it's too late. But if you have just about anything else, if you want to do crafts or computer science or anything else, horses, whatever, it's not too late. Sign up today.
Well, so yes, that is true in that we would love for, it's kind of a hard, soft deadline that January 15th, we'd love for youth to sign up. However, sign up anytime because 4-H has opportunities all year long. But Rachel is correct. Animal science projects are a little bit more stringent on their deadlines. So yeah, we welcome anyone at any time.
That's good to know. That is good. So I know that question's actually it comes up quite a bit.
Does.
And yeah, that's just good to know.
Yeah.
I won't say that she was right, but definitely won't say that whoever she was talking to was wrong. And assuming what she said wasn't right, but All right. Thanks, y'all. We appreciate it. Like I said, short and
Thank you.
sweet. We just chat about things. And next week.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Thanks for hanging out with us in our virtual lounge.
Please like, download, and subscribe and share the love.
Oh, I was going to say share the love.
Find us on Facebook, Twitter,
Twitter, YouTube,
and follow us everywhere.
just not in a creeper way.